3.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
I see it's late, people haven't had dinner. Let me say that again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Should we take a break, have dinner, and then come back for class? I see some bread there. So once again, we're back to class, and this is number 11. Number 11, mashallah. May Allah accept and make it easy for us. So before we start, let's just do some housekeeping things. As far as the next 2 weeks, inshallah, will be concerned. As a reminder, actually, I know Hussein usually will put the video online the night before, just for the brothers or the sisters, to remind first and foremost about Ayyamul Bid of the month of Sha'ban. It will be tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday for people who can fast, inshallah. May Allah make it easy and accept from us. And as Ramadan is coming upon us, we have to do a little bit of housekeeping. The first is today, inshallah, we'll do the really wonderful chapter of Al-Ghunna. I mean, we've been saying Ghunna all along, right? So now today, inshallah, we'll have a very good understanding, inshallah, with the help of Allah, of what is Al-Ghunna, when do we have it, how do we do it, and inshallah, this will be under our belts, inshallah. And then for next week, as I was saying, inshallah, we may not have class, may be on call, but the week after, inshallah, which is the 13th, inshallah, of June, which is the weekend before the last weekend of Sha'ban, before the month of Ramadan, inshallah, what I think we should do is we can spend time review everything that we've done up to this point, inshallah, and then after Ramadan, during the month of Ramadan, we'll take a break. As you know, it's going to be tricky to have class between Maghrib and Isha. People will be breaking their fast and getting ready for Taraweeh. So inshallah, we'll take a break for the month of Ramadan, inshallah, and then we'll come back. And the reason why I think it is better to start the next chapter, which is really the wonderful chapter of Al-Madd, which is really a long chapter that we'll spend quite a bit of time on, is it's better to start it fresh, inshallah, after the month of Ramadan, and then build upon it and continue, inshallah. So next week we'll see, inshallah, if Allah allows us, we'll have class. And the following week, inshallah, so we'll do a revision of what we've done up until now, and then Imam Bashir, inshallah, will give us about half an hour about how to prepare for the month of Ramadan, inshallah. May Allah make it easy and accept, inshallah. Any questions on that? Any suggestion, any comment? Alright, so let's delve into the chapter of Al-Ghunna. We've been saying this word, Al-Ghunna. I think it's probably the word we've said most in the class than any other word, right? We will say Ghunna. And today, inshallah, the Sheikh will teach us what is Al-Ghunna, what it means in the Arabic language, and what it means in the science of Tajweed. And then when do we have Ghunna, and how do we do Al-Ghunna, inshallah. And then from now on, inshallah, we'll be in a position to practice it. And the beautiful thing is, as you'll see, inshallah, when we do the class, everything up until this point about Al-Ghunna, we've pretty much seen, except 2 situations that we'll see today that some of us knew about when we have Al-Ghunna. But now what he's going to do is really, he's going to present Al-Ghunna in a systematic way, such that when we were talking about Ahkamun Nun Sakina wa Tanween, the rules of Nun that has a Sukun or Tanween, there are certain rules that have Ghunna, right? And one that did not have Ghunna. And then when we talked about Ahkamul Mimi Sakina, it was the same thing. There are rules that have Ghunna. So if I cannot keep track of the rules, it may be difficult for me to know which one had Ghunna and which one did not. Now what he's going to do is, he's going to extract Ghunna from all of them, put it as a separate chapter, and then tell us the situations where we can have Ghunna, inshallah. So then I can go back and blast it against the rules of Nun Sakina wa Tanween, inshallah. So Al-Ghunna. And as he does all the time, the Sheikh, he starts out by telling us what is the word in the Arabic language. When the Arabs say al-ghunna, what do they mean? Like when we learn al-izhar, when we learn al-idgham, when we learn al-iqlab, al-ikhfa, what does it mean in the Arabic language? And then he will tell us in this science, he will give us a functional definition or a contextual definition as it pertains to the science of Tajweed. So al-ghunnatu lughatan صوت له رنين في الخيشوم اصطلاحا صوت لذيذ مركب في جسم النون والميم لا عمل للسان فيه ما مقدارها حركتان ومقدار الحركة زمن قبض الأصبع أو بسطه والغنة توجد فيه أولا النون الساكنة والتنوين في حالات الإدغام بغنة والإقلاب والإخفاء ثانيا النون والميم المشددتين ثالثا الميم الساكنة في حالتي الإخفاء الشفوي وإدغام why إدغام not إدغام the grammar grows why إدغام not إدغام
معطوف على إخفاء الإخفاء.
Excellent. So it's معطوف على الإخفاء. And why إخفاء not إخفاء أو
كوز مضاف إليه.
مضاف إليه.
على
Excellent. المضاف إليه دائما
مجرور.
مجرور. Excellent. So وإدغام المتماثلين الصغير. And then we'll talk about the examples. So الغنة لغة. In the Arabic language, when they say الغنة, what do they mean? They say صوت, it's a sound. Ghunna is a sound, right? So it's something that we hear, right? A sound is something that we hear. Lahu ranin, it has a resonance. It has some sweetness in it. And he will tell us, it has a resonance. Where? Fil khayshum. So khayshum is the nasopharynx. So if you look at the inside of the mouth, doctors and anatomists, the way that they divide it, there is the upper part and the lower part. So the upper part is called the nasopharynx, and the lower part is called the oropharynx. So ghunna is a sound that has a resonance that comes from, it's like as if the nose is talking and the tongue is not. That's why this will help us understand it better. The contextual definition is tulahan. When we talk about al-ghunna in Tajweed, what do we mean? Sawtun ladhid. It's a sweet, very enjoyable sound. Murakkabun fi jismin nuni wal mim, that you will find composed in the two letters of an-nun and mim. La amala lil lisani fi. The tongue does not have anything to do with it. So it is a sweet sound that comes from the nasopharynx that you will find in nun and you will find in mim, and the tongue does not do anything with it. So what it means for me is when I do al-ghunna, it's all coming from my nose, right? Yes. Right? So my tongue is not part of it. That's why when you say in, so when I say in, so you see it's that sweet sound, right? It's coming from the nasopharynx, and my tongue is not moving, right? 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 So that is what al-ghunna is. And then he tells us, ma miqdaruha. How much time do we spend when we do al-ghunna, right? So I can say or it can be right? So how much time, when I have ghunna, how much time do I spend? Now this is going to be a critical concept that we need to learn. And that is the concept of al-haraka. So what we'll do, especially when we do al-mad, we need to measure to be able to spend. You know, how do we measure time? Seconds, minutes, hours, days, and so, right? So if I want to describe a specific time, I'll tell you we spend half an hour doing this, 30 minutes or 20 minutes. So that's what we need. We need to know how much time do we spend when we do al-ghunna. And now the unit that we use is the concept of al-haraka. So he says, and he will define this for us. So ma miqdarha, how much time do we spend on al-ghunna? When I do ghunna, how much time do I spend? He says harakatan, 2 haraka. So if haraka is 1 second, it's 2 seconds. If haraka is 1 minute, it's 2 minutes. If haraka is 1 year, it's 2 years. So now what is al-haraka, right? So he says, وَمِقْدَارُ الْحَرَكَةِ. So how do we know what is al-haraka? He says, زمن قبض الأصبع أو بسطه. It is the time that you spend to do this. You know, when you have your fingers and you want to fold them. So you see, it's very easy. And you don't do it very slow, and you don't do it very fast. So the time, if I have my fingers like this, and the time that I spend like this is one haraka. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you will see, we will have situations where we'll have 6 haraka. Or the other way to look at it is, if I have my fingers like this, the time I spend to spread my fingers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this becomes our seconds now. Is that clear? So that's the concept of al-haraka. The time that I spend to bring my fingers together, and one of them, just one of them, right? Or the time that, if my fingers are like this, the time that I will spend to do this and that. And this will become much, much clearer, inshallah, when we talk about the examples. So al-ghunna, so before we move, so al-ghunna lughatan, sawtun lahu ranin fil khayshum. It's a sound that has a resonance. Because when you say the ghunna, it's like the nose, right? Some of the people in a country that will remain unnamed, right? When they hear people recite the Quran, right, say, you know, these people, they always read the Quran from their nose, right? And it has to do with the fact that they spend a lot of ghunna. So, sawtun lahu ranin, it has a resonance, and it's in the nasopharynx. And sawt istilahan, what does it mean in the Tajweed when we talk about al-ghunna? Sawtul ladhir, it's a sweet sound, murakkabun, composed fi jismin nuni wal mim, in the 2 letters of, the bodies of, and the 2 letters of noon and mim. La amala lil lisani fihi. The tongue has nothing to do when we do ghunna. So my tongue is just watching when I do ghunna. Is that clear? So then ma miqdaruha, how much time do I spend on ghunna when I do ghunna? It says harakatan, 2 haraka. And what is haraka? I need to know what is haraka. Just like I need to know what is a minute. A minute is how many seconds? 60 seconds, right? So that's what he wants to. An hour is how many minutes? 60 minutes, right? So that's what he's doing. So what is haraka? Because haraka is going to come and come and come and come. So we have to understand it. So he said, زَمَنُ قَبْضِ الْأُصْبُعِ أَوْ بَسْطُ. It is the time that somebody will naturally spend to bend their finger like this, like this, like this, and like this. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. So you see, I spent 2 haraka. Now, you will see some people will spend a long time, and some people will spend a short time. And that has to do with maratibul qira'ah, or with tilawa. So there are different levels of reading the Quran. Sometimes you'll find somebody, he's reading very fast, right? He's doing tarawih, so he's reading very fast. So the time will be proportional to the speed that you're reading at, right? So somebody will be reading very slow, and we'll learn the this maratib of at-tilawa. So there is at-tartil, al-hadr, at-tadwir, and there is a 4th one that the ulama add, which is at-tahqiq. So we'll learn all of this. So somebody will be reciting when they're doing tarawih, so they're reciting very fast. And then I can say, well, he's not giving the ghunna. He is giving the ghunna. He's just doing it in proportion to the speed at which he's reading. So let me read, for instance, Surah An-Nas, that has some ghunna. So I read it as if I was doing tarawih. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ. That's fast, right? And yet I gave 2 haraka for every one. Now if I wanted to read it slower, I'll spend more time, and that will be in proportion to the speed. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ. So in both situations, I gave the ghunna. but it was in proportion to the speed at which I was reading. Is that clear? So now what we want to know is, when do we have ghunna, right? What are the situations where we have ghunna? And that's what he will tell us. وَالْغُنَّةُ تُوجَدُ فِيهِ. He said you will find ghunna in the Quran in these following situations. So now what it means is that I have to memorize these situations and my life becomes easy. If I know these situations, and alhamdulillah, pretty much all of them we've seen, except one of them, and it is very, very easy for us to remember. So these are the situations when we see them, we know that we have al-ghunna, we have to practice. He said the first situation is when you have a nun sakina, what tanween, when you have a nun that has a sukun or tanween, in which situations, when you have al-idghamu bi ghunna, does that sound familiar?
Yes.
And does it make sense?
Yes.
So he says when you have a nun as-sakina and a tanween, and you have the rule of al-idgham bi ghunna, you have a ghunna. It makes sense, right? Because what do we say? And we'll see examples, right? And he said in another situation, when you have ahkamun nun as-sakina wa tanween, al-iqlab also we have ghunna. Did we not learn that?
Yes.
We did, right?
Yes.
La yunbadanna. Remember when we learn al-iqlab, we say ma'a mura'ati wa al-ikhfa'i wal-ghunna, right? So two things we keep in mind, al-ikhfa and ghunna. So in al-iqlab we have ghunna also. Al-ikhfa, did we not learn that? So al-ikhfa we say wala antum, right? So these are the situations. The first situation is in ahkamun nun. It's like I go back to ahkamun nun sakinat wa tanween. The rules of nun sakinat wa tanween. So al-idgham bi ghunna, al-iqlab, and al-ikhfa, all of these rules will have ghunna. So now let me ask you this question, right? Which is a deductive question. So of ahkamun nun sakinat wa tanween, which ones do not have ghunna?
الإظهار.
Al-ilhar. Excellent. So I know that ahkamun nun sakinat are four. Al-ilhar, al-idgham, al-iqlab, al-ikhfa. Al-idgham has two subdivisions. Al-idgham bi ghunna, bi ghayri ghunna. So if I'm given al-idgham bi ghunna, wal-iqlab and ikhfa, so I'm left with al-idhar and al-idgham bi ghayri ghunna. So does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why when we learn al-idhar, he said إخراج كل حرف من مخرجه بغير غنة, right? And al-idgham bi ghayri ghunna naturally is idgham with a ghunna. So that I know because I learned it in my previous classes. So what it means is that whenever I see now a nun that has a sukun and a tanween, and I have the rule of al-idgham bi ghunna, and what are the letters of al-idgham bi ghunna?
ينمو.
Yanmu. Excellent. Ya, nun, mim, and waw. So if I have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, and it's followed by a ya, a nun, a mim, a waw, I have the rule of al-idgham bi ghunna. And there I'll have a ghunna, right? And if I have al-iqlab, and what are the letters of al-iqlab?
باء. one letter only.
What is wrong with my question?
one letter only.
One letter.
One letter, right? I said, what are the letters? And it is only one letter.
Yeah.
So al-iqlab is the only letter of al-iqlab. Al-ba is the only letter of al-iqlab, right? So when I have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, and it is followed by a ba, I have al-iqlab. In al-iqlab, I will always have al-ghunna. And we'll say it in the examples. And al-ikhfa. So al-ikhfa, we learn it's the 15 letters that are left when I take out the letters of al-izhar and the letters of al-idgham and the one letter of al-iqlab. So there also we will have ghunna. So that's my first situation. So now a nun sakina and a tanween in these rules, al-idgham bi ghunna, wal-iqlab, wal-ikhfa, I have ghunna. Is that clear?
Yes.
What is the next situation? Now this is something new that we're learning today. The next situation is an-nun wal-mim al-mushaddadatayn. So any nun that I see in the Quran, or any meme that I see in the Quran that has a shadda will have ghunna by obligation. Now let's just take a minute to say what is shadda, just so that we review it. So if I have, shadda is this 3 that's horizontal or anything that you can look at. So I have this letter. What it equals in Arabic is the following. So Originally, they had two letters of the same letter. The first one had a sukun. The second one had, in this situation, fatha. So they merged them and put them as a shadda. So that tells me, even if I don't have ghunna, if I see a shadda in the Quran and I don't bring it, it means that I'm leaving a letter out. Is that right to do in Islam?
No.
To leave, right? So I have to be careful, right? A very common mistake that we have, a very common mistake. Khalid is having his share. So very common mistake that you will see, for instance, in Surah An-Nas and Al-Falaq is the word shar. So people will say min sharil. You will hear all the min sharil without the ikhfa and without the ra that has a shadda. So they take out. So min sharil. So the ra has a shadda, right? So we have to be mindful of that. So that is a shadda. And the same thing would apply if I had a meme. And that's true for, if it was like this in Arabic, this is what it means. So I have two letters of the meme, a sukun followed by a kasra. So we write them like this. So that is shadda. So now what the Sheikh is telling us, in the Quran, every single time I see a noon that has a shadda, or a meme that has a shadda, what do I apply? Ghunna. Right? Is that clear? We'll see examples inshallah. And what else? The third situation where we have al-ghunna is al-mim is sakina. When you have a meme that has a sukun in these two situations. And that was, this is the last chapters that we've been learning. Al-ikhfa al-shafawi. Right? So what is the letter of al-ikhfa al-shafawi?
Ba.
Al-ba. When we have a meme that has a sukun, and it is followed by a ba, we have al-ikhfa al-shafawi. So al-ikhfa al-shafawi we have ghunna by obligation. And the other situation is وَإِدْغَامِ الْمُتَمَاثِلَيْنِ الصَّغِيرِ. What is the letter of إِدْغَامُ الْمُتَمَاثِلَيْنِ الصَّغِيرِ?
Meme.
Al-meme. So we have a meme that has a sukun, and it is followed by a meme that does not have a sukun. There also we have ghunna. So these are our three situations. The first one is an-nun sakina and tanween. If I see a nun that has a sukun and a tanween, and I happen to have the rule of al-idgham bil-ghunna, meaning I have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, and it is followed by either a ya, or a nun, or a meme, or a waw, there I will have ghunna. If I have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, and it is followed by a ba, and there I know that I have the rule of al-iqlab, I will have a ghunna. If I have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, and it is followed by one of the 15 letters of al-ikhfa, there I will have a ghunna. In the Quran, every single time that I see a nun that has a shadda, or a meme that has a shadda, I absolutely have ghunna. So that's something that we haven't learned up to now, right? So now that is a new rule, right, Hussein? So nun that has a shadda, meme that has a shadda has what? Ghunna. And then the third situation is when we have a meme that has a sukun and it is followed by a ba, there I have the rule of al-ikhfa al-shafawi. There we, by obligation we have ghunna. If I have a meme that has a sukun and it is followed by another meme that does not have a sukun, there we have the rule of idgham al-mutamathilayn as-saghir, and there I have a ghunna. Does that make sense? Let's go through the examples inshallah and then see. So examples of al-ghunna. So you'll help me, right? So here we have hablum min masad. So here we have a tanween. It's followed by a meme. So which rule do we have here? So I have here al-idgham bi ghunna, right? So here I say hablum. So the sound is what? Ghunna, right? So ghunna is that sound. So you see my tongue, let's say each one of us. How much is our tongue doing? Nothing, right? So there is your ghunna. Very easy, huh? So masad. So from now on, Surah Al-Masad, we will not say hablum min masad, right? When we read it. Do you agree? So so another one. So here we have a nun that has a sukun followed by a meme. Which rule do we have here? Al-idghamu bi ghunna. So here, what do we say? Mim masada. So now here we have a noon that has a sukun, and it is followed by a ba. So what do we say? What rule do we have? Al-iqlab, right? So how do we say this word? How much is our tongue doing? Nothing. Kalla la yunbadanna. Here we have what? We have noon that has a shadda. So now how do we say this word? Let's read it. We don't say na. Remember in Arabic, when you're stopping on anything other than two fatha, you stop on a sukun, right? So now this is a very tricky word, right? And you will see it in the Quran. There are a few words that have it, where you actually have to stop on a ghunna. So you stop on the ghunna, but you don't bring that. So here I don't say kalla la yunbadanna. That's a mistake. So I want to stop. I say kalla la yunbadanna. So I bring the ghunna, but I don't bring the na. So another word that is actually very common, I think, did Imam used that word in the first rakah of Yunus, right? So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ أُجِيبَتْ دَعْوَتُكُمَا فَاسْتَقِيمَا وَلَا تَتَّبِعَانِ سَبِيلَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. So when you stop on the ghunna, right? Are you with me?
Yeah.
In Ar-Rahman we have it. Who can remind us where do we have it? Sometimes when we stop. Jan, right? When do we have it? Who can give us the ayah? لم يطمثهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. So you never, so you hold the tongue. So the tongue will say, what you say, wala jan. No, right? Wala jan. So we stop on the ghunna. So now here's another example. We have a tanween followed by a dhal. So that is one of the letters of al-ikhfa. So we have ghunna here. So how do we say this ayah, or part of this ayah? We're really hungry. I can hear myself better. Okay, I'll give you the fact that I have a microphone. So let's say it again. MashaAllah. Right? Hussein, now we know al-ghunna, right? So So now here's another example. So here we have a noon that has a shadda, a noon that has a shadda. So what do we say? How do we say this? And then the next ayah? The next ayah? The next ayah? The next ayah? Excellent. And the next one? Wasn't that fun and enjoyable? Right? So there is one, right? So we have a noon that has one. Now here's another example, and here we'll see a very, very common mistake that if you listen carefully, you will hear it. So here's a noon that has a shadda, right? Was I going to say sunnah? It tells you I'm hungry. So here we have a noon that has a shadda. So how do we read this? Let's say it again. Let's say it again. Now this is a very, very common mistake that you will hear over and over again. People will say إن بطش ربك لشديد إن بطش ربك لشديد إن بطش ربك لشديد. What is my mistake?
You see on the Hamza. Kesra. No, the first alphabet Kesra.
Say it. What did I do,
You
Muhammad?
insisted on the
Excellent. So the mistake that you will hear over and over again is people will put a ya here. I said in. So when I say e, I added a ya. Right? Are you with me? So it's not in. So you move from the hamza straight to the nun. So the proper way of saying it is inna, not inna. So that's my mistake, and that's a very common mistake you will hear. So it's not e. When I say e, I added a ya.
Yeah.
So it's inna batsha rabbika lashadid. Not inna. When I say inna, it sounds very much that I said the one, and I did the gunna, but I just added a ya, which is the wrong thing to do, right?
But that means when you add the ya.
It's wrong. That's
I know
why.
it's wrong, but what it means?
I have no idea. I have no idea. So if you add a ya here, I quite frankly don't know what it means, but I know that it's not the Quran, right? As the sheikh said, right? You said that, right? So the sheikh was he had two students, and he was listening to one of them, and then one of them was reciting, and he was making mistakes. Or whatever he was reading was wrong, and the sheikh was just listening up until he was done, and then he said to the next one, now recite. The next one started reciting beautifully, all of the rules respected, and the sheikh was enjoying very much. And then all of a sudden he made a mistake. When he made a mistake, the sheikh slapped him. And when he slapped him, he said to him, well, sheikh, why are you slapping me? I just made one mistake, and when he was reading, he was making mistakes all along, and you did not do anything to him. And the sheikh told him, well, you were reading the Quran and he was reading something else. So that's the thing. So I would not know what inna would be. I would know that it is not part of the Quran, right? So here we have a meme that has a shadda. Now there is a word as well in Surah Al-Masad where people will commonly make a mistake and not say the ghunna. So how do we say this word? Say it again. حمالة الحطب. So mim and nun, whenever they have a shadda, we have a ghunna. And then here we have another mim that has a shadda. And then how do we say it? Excellent. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. Right? And then the next ayah. And then the next ayah. Inshallah, you're enjoying it very much. Excellent. So noon and mim in the Quran with shadda, we have what? By choice or by obligation? Obligation, right? So we'll be fine if you don't do it, right, Muhammad? Excellent. So now here's another example. We have a meme that has a sukoon, and it's followed by a ba. So here, which rule do we have? Al-ikhfa'u shafa'i. So how do we read this part of the ayah? Excellent. تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. So تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ. Right? And then here, we have a meme that has a sukoon, and it is followed by another meme that doesn't have a sukoon. Which rule do we have here? إِدْغَامُ الْمُتَمَاثِلَيْنِ الصَّغِيرِ. So how do we read this part of the ayah? So what gives us the ghunna here? Al-ikhfa. Excellent, right? And what gives us the ghunna here? Excellent. إدغام المتماثلين الصغير. أطعمهم من جوع. And the next ayah. And what gives us the ghunna in the next ayah? وَآمَنَهُم مِّنْ خَوْفٍ. What gives us the ghunna? Excellent. إدغام المتماثلين. The same situation.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Let's go over it again, inshallah, and then we'll open our mushaf. So al-ghunna. So what is al-ghunna? Lughatan, in the Arabic language, what does it mean? Sawtun lahu raninun fil khayshun. It is a sound that has a resonance that you will find in the nasopharynx. So it's like my nose is talking. You know how some people naturally will speak with their nose, like Americans. When they talk in English, Americans speak with their nose, right? So naturally they have a ghunna sound in their thing. They just don't spend as much time as they should, right? So that's how they talk. So fil khayshum, the nasopharynx. So istilahan, when we talk about al-ghunna in Tajweed, what do we mean? Sawtul ladhi, it's a sweet sound, right? Murakkabun fi jismin nuni wal mim, that you will find composed in the two letters of an-nun and al-mim. La amala lil lisani fi. The tongue has nothing whatsoever to do with it. So it's all coming from the nasopharynx. It's all coming from the nose. So tongue does not do anything. Tongue sits and watches. Ma miqdaruha. How much time do we spend when we do ghunna? Harakatan, 2 haraka. So now haraka now is our unit of measure now. So haraka we need to know. It's going to be our second. So instead of using 2 seconds, we will say haraka, right? So ma miqdarul haraka. How much time is haraka? It says zamanu qabdil usbu aw bastu. It is the time that you spend to bring your finger down like this, one of them, or when I have my fingers like this, to bring it up. That much time without going too fast or too slow, that is al-haraka. Wal ghunnatu tujad. What are the situations where we have al-ghunna? He said these are the 3 categories where we will have ghunna. The first one is an-nun is-sakinati wa tanween. When you have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, in these situations, first one is al-idghamu bi ghunna. So if I have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, and it's followed by one of the letters of al-idghamu bi ghunna, which are ya, nun, mim, waw, I have ghunna by obligation. If I have a nun that has a sukun or a tanween, and it is followed by the letter ba, which is the letter of al-iqlab, I have ghunna by obligation. If I have a nun that has a sukun and tanween, and it's followed by one of the 15 letters of al-ikhfa, I have ghunna by obligation. So that is my first category where I will have ghunna. What is the second one? The second one is if I have a nun, just a simple nun, or a mim, and it has a shadda in the Quran, by obligation, I have ghunna. The third category is when I have a mim that has a sukun. In these 2 situations, which is when I have the mim that has a sukun and it's followed by a ba, and ba I know is the letter of al-ikhfa al-shafawi. But I have a mim that has a sukun and it's followed by another mim, which is the letter of idgham al-mutamathilain as-saghir. There I have ghunna as well. Here are examples. I have a tanween followed by a mim. So I have an example of al-idgham bi ghunna. So I say habalun, right? And then a nun that has a sukun followed by a mim, another case of al-idgham bi ghunna. Habalun min masad. So here I have a nun that has a sukun followed by a ba. So this is a case of al-iqlab. So I say layun, right? Layun. So but here I have a nun that has a shadda. So layun badan. So I don't say layun badan, right? But layun badan. Here I have a tanween followed by a dhal. That is one of the letters of al-ikhfa. Nara, so here I have a nun that has a sukun, that has a shadda. So here nunun mushaddada. So bi'rabbin nas. The same thing. So we have to be mindful here and not say inna. So it's just inna. Inna baqsha rabbika la shadid. So here I have a mim that has a shadda. حمالة الحطب فأما اليتيم. So here we have a meme that has a shadda. So فأما اليتيم. So here we have a meme that has a sukun and it's followed by a ba. So we have the rule of al-ikhfa'u shafawi. So ترميهم بحجارة. So here we have a meme that has a sukun, followed by another meme that does not have a sukun. So here we have idghamul mutamathilain as-sarih. So أطعمهم من جوع. Any questions? Let's open our books. You ready? Let's open. Where did we stop last time? Which surah did we? I think we stopped at Surah Al-Layl. So today we'll do Surah Al-Shams, right? So now we say open our books. People are pulling their cell phones. It's amazing, huh?
No, not only 3 minutes only. The memory card is full. Memory card is full. Have 3 minutes only. It's gonna shut down.
I gave you the.
Yeah, I have the other one. It's 2 minutes now.
You stopped it?
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's
It's birrasm. It's because of the one. That's why. But it's not the meme that originally had the shidda, yes.
because of
The one, exactly.
We need to do that singing.
Ala, we can stop here for the recording, inshallah, and then the memory card is running out of memory. He's saying, so we'll have to use another. But it's fine. We can stop here, inshallah, for the recording, inshallah. So as we said, next week we may have class, inshallah. It is going to depend on how the call goes, inshallah. And the week after, inshallah, which is the last weekend of Sha'ban, we'll have a general revision, and then Imam Bashir will give us a reminder about how to prepare for Ramadan, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.